going to be taking some photos.
You're taking pictures of the rods, not you.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I'm Gary Benny, English rod builder living in Sweden. I've been building rods for many years, and now you're going to join me in my workshop going through tips, tricks, techniques, tools of the trade, all the things you want to know when you're coming to build a rod. We're going to drink a lot of tea, so join me on the ride. Let's have some fun. This is RodBuilding. Let's do this.
So today we got a moody setup for a reason. We're going to be looking at how to do photography on your rods. When you finish building that ultimate looking rod, it looks absolutely fantastic. You don't want to ruin it by putting it up on social media with bad photography. I see a lot of examples of people just haven't spent any time on that, and it's really easy if you know how. So we're just going to go over a few little key ideas on how to do some really good shots without using cameras worth a couple $1,000s. Let's go. So you've got that lovely rod finished and you're ready to take a photo. The epoxy looks perfect and you're going to get a really nice shot of it to put up on social media, maybe your website to advertise or whatever you want to do, just to show it off to the world. Very simply, you don't need much for this, and you're going to be needing a smartphone of some sort with a decent camera on it and a light source. These you can pick up pretty cheap from like Amazon or places like that. They don't cost a whole lot, and it's going to make a huge difference when it comes to this photography. Secondly, you want a nice flat surface to work on. Take away anything out of the way and try and find a solid color background. This is always going to look the best. You can pick these up again, really cheap. A non-reflective background. You can do black, you can do blue, and on your social media, one thing I would recommend is try and get all of your photos with the same color background. On Instagram and things like that, it's going to look really consistent. So we're going to go with the black because that's normally what I use. Another option is you could also get yourself one of these backdrops. These are printed up for the American Tackle Pro staffers. This has got my logo on it, True Custom Rods, Microwave and American Tackle, and a cool carbon look. If you're one of the pro staffers, you just send an email and these ones will get sent out to you. So it looks also pretty cool for advertising if you're using American Tackle components on your builds. We've got our background set up, we've got our light source set up, and we've got our camera. Now what we need to do is turn off some ambient light around. Turn off lights, turn off anything that's going to give an extra light source, so you don't want any yellow light coming in. You want to solely rely on one direction of light source. Secondly, you want to raise the rod up off the background. I use these two supports. This is a nice toolbox my daughter made me very kindly, and it makes really good for a rod support. It's perfect height with the other one, and that's going to give me that depth of field for that kind of bit more blurry background we want to achieve. Then what you need to do is get the rod of choice and just lay it in position, and we're almost ready to take the picture. Before we do that though, there's one nasty thing that always shows up on good photography, and that's dust. So what I can recommend is a tack rag. So keep your tack rag in a plastic bag, and all you want to do, you don't want to rub heavily on it, you just want to literally dab over the top, and what that's going to do is pick up any dust off the surface of the rod. You don't want that, it's going to show up really badly on a photo, and you want to make that rod look as clean as possible. Next thing you want to do is get elevated, get up above the rod. It's going to make it much easier to take a photo straight down the rod, and you're going to get that really nice depth of field, and also you can get really good focus on the rod. Now you're noticing I put my rod diagonally across. That's just because all of my Instagram photos, I like to have the rod going from the left bottom corner to the top right, and I keep it consistent throughout all the photography on my Instagram. When you get elevated above the background, you want to open your camera app and you want to start doing just a couple test photos to see how it's going to look. Now I can see immediately I'm in the wrong position or the light needs to move, so I'm just going to tweak the light round and get the light coming a little bit more from this side onto the rod. When you've moved the light, get back up again and have a look and see what it looks like. And that's looking pretty good. When we've got it in position like this, we're going to get the photo lined up, and then we're going to zoom in. And then what I like to do is just bring down the exposure ever so slightly, just to give it a little bit of a darker background. And then always remember to focus and take your shot. And that's looking pretty moody and pretty cool. Now I've moved the rod forward because I want to get the full end of the rod. I want to get the butt grip with that nice yellow. It's going to contrast with the black and the full rod. I'm going to tease it a little bit there because I want to try and get the exposure of the 1K of the real seat. And I'm going to turn those guides around to show off those fantastic microwave guides. Again, get elevated above. Try and get your frame watching the parameters so you're not going to go outside. You're going to have to come up quite high. Zoom in like so. You can see the difference there when I'm changing between the different lenses, and that's looking pretty cool. You can do a shot down on the butt like so, get a little bit brighter. Maybe you want some photos of the text, and one on the side of the real seat, just a little bit more. Really cool, different angles, like so. And it looks absolutely fantastic. Let's show you the finished shots. So now we're going to try and see what it looks like with a black background. Those photos look absolutely phenomenal. Really cool advertising with my logo, American Tackle, and the microwave guides, which are on the rod, which is very suiting. But I'm going to do the black background because that's normally what I do for all of my social media. I'm going to slide this in position. And one very important thing you want to do when you're doing solid color backgrounds is just to make sure that you're going to see some dirt and stuff. I recommend you just get some tape and just go over any sort of small areas and just clean off those bits of dust because it's going to show up. We can get rid of it in some editing, and I'll show you that in a little while, but of course the best photos are always the ones that are perfect from the day you click that button. So now we've got our solid black background. We're going to get elevated again. So we've gone up the ladder again. We're going to zoom in. We're then going to change to a much darker exposure, and we're going to frame in. And you can see immediately with that solid black background, the yellow butt just absolutely pops. Take a photo of that one. It's really moody. You can change the angles a little bit. Again, you notice I'm keeping everything from that bottom lower right to that top left because that's what I want to keep, that consistency. Coming into the real seat, making sure to get those tones of the yellow. Keep everything in your frame, of course, and I would recommend keeping your grid lines on because that's going to make it much easier for you. So another shot that I do and I really like the look of is I like to set up and do the actual butt guide, especially with the microwave guides. They look really, really cool. And what you need to do is just get your rod supported like I've got it here against a solid black background. All I'm doing is pushing the butt up against, and I've just hung my black background up against my deflection board here. So it's all set up ready. And what we're going to do is have a little go and see what kind of results we can get with this. I'm going to go to photo, I'm going to turn the camera into landscape, and then we're going to zoom in and try and frame that really nicely so it's very center between those grid lines. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to turn that exposure down until the guide pops and the black background sort of disappears. And that looks really cool. But you know what? It's good, but I think we can make it a bit better. So what we're going to try now is another light. As you know before, we got the extra light source, and I think with an extra bit of light just to shine up that guide, it might work. So let's give this a go. You can pick these up really, really cheap, just an LED camera light. It's a bit tricky doing this with two hands, but we're going to come in like so, and you can see now that guide just absolutely pops. And that looks really cool. And there we have it. Let's check them out, see what they look like. I think they look pretty cool, and they're going to definitely respect the build of the rod. So now we're going to look at just a little simple edit. When you've done your picture, sometimes it's nice just to go in and tweak it a little bit. You can do a lot with this. Go into your standard camera app and just click on the auto adjust, and just have a look how it looks by pressing that. Normally what it's going to do, it's going to change the exposure a little bit. It's going to try and brighten up the main feature of the picture. And actually I like that sort of dark look, but it's also pretty cool with the way it looks now. So we'll try it with a little bit brighter, but it does lose the yellow. It makes the yellow a little bit too pale. So what I think I'm doing, I'm going to brighten it up, and then I'm going to slide along, and then the one that I tend to use a lot is the black point. I'm going to bring that up and down, just slide it until the background starts to disappear. But if you don't want to go too far, you're going to lose too much of your subject, the actual rod. So I'm just going to drop it down ever so slightly until the background starts to disappear, and that looks pretty cool. Then I'm going to go over to the saturation, and I'm just going to tweak that a little bit. I want to try and get that yellow a little bit stronger. Not too much so it seems fake, that's pretty good. And then the vibrancy, we're gonna bring that color back a little bit again by just going up. You can see if I go all the way, it loses completely black and white. And if I come up, we're gonna get that yellow. We don't wanna make it look too false, so we're gonna try and match the tone of the actual whip and what it is. And then if you need to, you can just change the warmth and things and just change. You see now if I go up a little bit, I'm gonna lose more of that sort of gray tone to a bit more red tone. That's gonna make it more sort of black and yellow, which looks pretty cool. Then if you wanted, you could do a vignette and you can just bring that all the way up and you'll tone around the sides. But you notice on the logo down the bottom there that it's actually gonna make it a little bit sort of too dark. So I'm just gonna bring that back a little bit and I'm gonna click done. Now I've got a really sort of dark and aggressive photo. It looks really cool. You could do the opposite exactly. You could make it lighter, you could brighten it all up. Maybe you've got a white background, maybe you've got a blue background, a green background. You just need to tweak it and change it until it looks good to your eye. I think what a lot of people do is they don't spend time on this and they just post any old picture with a random background. And if you're happy with that, that's fine. But I think you are worth spending a bit of time on your rod build. You've made a good job of it, get a good photo. So guys, there you have it. We've shown you how to take some photos of your really nice custom builds without breaking the bank with expensive camera gear. Most of you these days have got a smartphone of some sort. Go on Amazon, find a decent LED light source, buy a black background. You can pick them up anywhere, or if you're American Pro staff, you can get one of these. This is RodBuilding. It's been fantastic today. Thank you very much. If you like our content, please make sure to ring the notifications bell so you don't miss any of the content we're bringing you, and subscribe to our channel, of course. Until next time, that's a wrap.